Well, it looks like the worst possible case scenario has finally happened in video games. We have now crossed the Rubicon in order of actual ownership and even affordability in the gaming industry today. As of right now, the PlayStation 5 Slim Digital Edition is $600. The one with a disc drive is $650. Your PlayStation 5 Pro is $900. And people are already looking towards next generation as well. And shockingly enough, I can bet my sweet Bippy prices are not going to go back down. Apparently, yesterday's price is not today's price, and things are going to get even worse still. You see, because not only is PlayStation and many other companies increasing the prices of their systems, we're also seeing PlayStation as well do the most unthinkable thing possible: shut down massive amounts of studios and even fire developers across the board, with Bluepoint Studios being shut down. Basically the biggest W that PlayStation even had this entire generation, with the Demon's Souls remake and shuttering that studio completely. Also finding out that the Last of Us 2 Factions multiplayer was basically 80% done until they canceled the project outright. On top of that, massive amounts of rumors of pulling out of putting ports onto PC, and even then still focusing on massive live service titles that clearly are not doing as well as they're supposed to be doing. But I think the bigger aspect about all of this isn't just the fact that next generation is around the corner or that PlayStation has been making incredibly stupid decisions. I think the bigger part is that nobody truly understands the entire amount of competition that's going to be coming their way in terms of Valve and Steam. Because even right now, the Steam machine is something that is incredibly sought after and people are in fact looking forward to. Hell, I would dare say the one piece of equipment that people really want more than a Steam machine is the second iteration of the Steam Deck as well. And even with this baby being 4 years old right now and having a lot older tech inside of it, it's actually holding its weight, especially above what everybody else is doing. Linux has been growing exponentially. People are moving over to Steam and PC gaming, and clearly people are in fact very upset about what's been going on in the gaming space and are tired of being dragged over the coals. But the thing is, I really don't think PlayStation understands the kind of competition that is going to be coming their way. Because not only are they also making a handheld for next generation, apparently at the same time while doing all of this with massive price hikes and at the same time shutting down studios, they're still on a buying spree. Because according to Hazardor Gaming on Twitter, he says this: Sony acquires Cinemersive Labs. Founded in 2022, Cinemersive Labs brings together a specialized team with deep expertise in computer vision and machine learning. All right, okay. I don't understand this company at all. Let's look at the facts of what's going on around here, right? We're going to go ahead and increase the price of our consoles to almost $1,000, putting it in basically stone's throw territory of just saying, I'll buy a PC anyways, or just build my own PC for a lot better and a little bit more money. Okay, fine. Sure, we're going to do some stupid like that. You're going to close down studios, fire developers, shut down actual live service games that people really want to play, yet double, triple, and quadruple down on other live service titles that no one wants at all and are continually flopping and failing. Then turn around and after doing all of that stupid behavior, you're going to buy another studio that focuses on AI-generated technology on images to make them stereoscopic. Okay, all right, that's, oh God, clearly what they're doing though is using this purchase to try and inflate what they're going to be doing with their upscaling technology with the next PSSR iteration, even though they already got PSSR 2 and everybody's fawning over that. And there's going to be somebody in the comment section, but Alex, DLSS and the Pisser look better than native. If you want to feel that way, perfectly fine. But the thing is, I do not want games to have to rely on upscaling as a crutch in order to get basic performance. It's why I no longer purchase NVIDIA products and started using AMD as well. I don't like using upscalers. I want to use the horsepower of the GPU that I purchased in the first place. And that's the real ticket behind all of this. And the thing is, PC gamers have already dealt with the upscaling snake oil that we've had to deal with for quite some time. First, it was just upscaling, then it was fake generated frames. Now it's soon going to be just fake graphics. So I guess, welcome to the party, pal. I don't know. But the thing is, though, PlayStation even made an announcement and statement about this. So let's take a look at it and go from there. At Sony Interactive Entertainment, the company behind the PlayStation brand, we're continually exploring new ways to push boundaries of visual computing and deliver richer, more immersive gameplay experiences. Today, we are pleased to announce that SIE has entered into an agreement to acquire Cinemersive Labs, a UK-based machine learning and computer vision company. Following the acquisition, the Cinemersive Labs team will join SIE's visual computing group and contribute to our broader efforts in advancing state-of-the-art visual computing within games. This includes applying machine learning to enhance gameplay visuals, improve rendering techniques, and unlock new levels of visual fidelity for players. So yeah, 100%. The purchase of Cinemersive Lab is going to have PlayStation double down and triple down on PSSR in the first place, and even upscaling. The nice part about this, though, is that because of PlayStation's involvement, FSR has gotten better, even though they're still going to follow NVIDIA's footsteps and add fake generated frames like they already have, and also do the exact same thing as well with Gen AI. Because we all know that AMD is just NVIDIA's every single time. That's pretty much what happens. But you see, the thing is this. I believe that what PlayStation is doing is doubling down and tripling down on PSSR, not because they want to use that as a main crutch to sell the next generation of systems. Trust me, they're going to add that in anyways and show you how great it looks upscaled. I think the big ticket is going to be this. You're going to have a longer cycle between generations of people upgrading to that next piece of hardware, especially with the way prices are right now. And if PlayStation keeps those prices high, and there isn't any true competition for them in that space, they're going to have less people adopt the new system, which will of course cause people to say, you know what? I'll wait on it. And giving people a better experience in older hardware is exactly why upscalers are in fact so great. The problem, though, is that so many developers rely on them as an actual crutch rather than optimizing their games, which again is why I have such a big problem with them, especially on the PC space. But do you want to know where else upscalers are really great as well? In handhelds. Because according to WCCF Tech, the PlayStation 6 handheld will reportedly beat the Xbox Series S in both raster and ray tracing. PSSR 3 will outperform NVIDIA DLSS 4.5. All right, you know what? There's a lot of silliness in that actual tweet, but there is some truth to it. I would honestly hope that a handheld released next year in 2027, 7 years after the Series S released, would actually perform better than the console that everybody said was holding back the entire generation. Yeah. That's kind of like how things are supposed to work. You're actually supposed to get better and more stronger equipment the longer you go around, even if it is in a handheld portable factor. But the thing is, there's a lot of claims being made on here as well, speaking about how PSSR 3 will be better than DLSS 4.5. If NVIDIA didn't have such a horrible showing on DLSS 5 in the first place, that could be, I guess, a viable standard to look at. But the thing is, it's always being improved upon, and so is FSR as well. But even with all of that being said, I really feel like upscalers are best dealt with on the handheld side as well, depending upon how much CPU coverage is being used on those specific devices. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the handheld space, especially with Steam Deck and even the ROG Ally X being in play across so many other facets, and also with Nintendo Switch 2 as well. This may be the handheld generation that everybody has been looking into. And personally, if it was powerful enough and had good enough upscaling and being able to be docked into an actual TV, you could be seeing a cheaper option for a lot of users to go through and get a PS6 handheld device rather than going around and buying a $1,000 or $900 console after the new generation. But the thing is, though, there's more to the article, so let's go from there. with the article saying this: Sony's return to the handheld market with the PS6 handheld is set to be very interesting, as according to known AMD leaker Kepler L2, the system will outperform the Xbox Series S in both rasterization and ray tracing. Furthermore, it is expected to deliver superior image quality with PSSR 3 over what the Nintendo Switch 2 can achieve with NVIDIA DLSS Lite. With the quote from Kepler L2 saying this: GPU is a bit ahead of the Xbox Series S in raster, and of course massively ahead in ray tracing and path tracing, said the leaker on the NeoGAF forums, while discussing the leaked specifications of the system currently known as Project Canis. The leaked specifications in question are 4 Zen 6C cores, 2 Zen 6 LP cores, 16 RDNA 5 compute units, 192-bit DDR5, 24 gigabytes of RAM, a 135mm square TSMC 3nm APU. With Kepler also saying this: the Switch 2 only has DLSS 2, CNN, and some games even use the worst DLSS Lite. FSR 5 and PSSR 3 will be better image quality than even current DLSS 4.5, continued Kepler L2, highlighting how the next version of Sony's AI-powered upscaler could be the one feature that elevates the PS6 handheld. This would place it above not only Nintendo's current system, which is currently the only dedicated console handheld supporting AI upscaling, but also other current handheld systems, such as the Xbox ROG Ally X, which rely on other upscaling solutions. Seeing how much PSSR improved in version 2.0, it will definitely be interesting to see it in action, especially on a portable device. And if you ask me, this is where I think the gaming industry is truly going. Not in your typical set-top box console that people truly will no longer be able to afford, being at $900 or $1,000. I think what they're going to be planning on doing is putting the handheld out in the first place at the $500 or $600 price tier for the PS6 handheld. And that's where I think the majority of gamers are in fact going to go. Have it being dockable with a USB-C to HDMI out would be the ideal solution. And it would give people a different way of actually enjoying their games and not having to shell out over $1,000 and missing the mark on a massive amount of users that were not willing to upgrade before, like between the PS4 to the PS5 like we're seeing right now. And of course, that would impact everything else as well, seeing as how FSR 5 could provide better image quality than DLSS 4.5, you could be seeing a better overall grouping of newer handhelds coming out as well that are taking advantage of that hardware, especially by AMD. We've been calling them out for the longest time. Release the FSR 4 files, everybody screams in every comment section, asking AMD, even though they're the ones that probably leaked the actual DLL to make FSR 4 work on older GPUs, to have it be released on everything else. Being able to have FSR 4 on my Steam Deck, which you can do right now, or even also onto the ROG Ally X, is incredibly cool. And I think honestly, when you're looking at upscaling, the best use of that is going to be on a handheld battery limited device, which is also constrained as well by power. Which honestly makes a lot of sense when you think about it. The thing is though, PlayStation is not going to be the only one dealing with this kind of thing as well, because even the Switch 2 may have its own issues. Because according to VGC, the price of Switch 2 hardware is going to have to go up eventually, a former Nintendo sales lead says. The thing is though, Nintendo is going to have to make some difficult decisions. We've been seeing a massive drought of them on the games across that platform, especially rather recently. And to make matters even worse, an increase on their price would not benefit them whatsoever, since people were already upset at the launch price of the Switch 2, but also at the fact that game prices increased. There was a literal tax on physical games as well for that system, and game keycards were not a good look overall. The problem though is these won't be the only two battlers in the handheld space. Apparently Xbox may also be coming out with their own handheld as well, and you've got the ROG Ally X that's out right now at $1,000, which is actually insane if you ask me. But it looks like even with all those competitors in that handheld spot, there may be one that everybody is in fact terrified of, and that is Valve. Because according to Insider Gaming, the Steam Deck 2 is targeting 2028 release, it's claimed. Oh yes, we are on the way back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the Steam Machine, the Steam Frame, the Steam Controller 2, and apparently now also the Steam Deck 2. And personally, I'm pretty much ready for it. I absolutely love my Steam Deck, even though it is greatly underpowered compared to my ROG Ally X. The ergonomics, the trackpads, the way Steam operates, it just feels infinitely better. Hell, even Linux runs infinitely better than what I'm seeing on Windows with the ROG Ally X until Microsoft fixes their own operating system. And this is going to be exactly what's going to be pushing the entire gaming industry into competing in this handheld space. We've been seeing tons of other companies jump into this, overprice, overcharge, and push everybody else out, not realizing exactly what kind of person wants a handheld device. It needs to be made more affordable. Hell, when the Steam Deck just launched, it was like $399 around there for MSRP, I think. That was 4 years ago. Unfortunately, though, we no longer have the LCD model and are only stuck with the OLEDs. And even then, though, those prices are still pretty comparable. What you're seeing right now, though, isn't just the fact that the Steam Deck could release in 2028, basically a year after everybody else puts out their own hardware as well for their handhelds and next-gen systems. What the reality is showing is very different. Valve has stated multiple times that they don't want to release a sequel to the Steam Deck unless it shows a true competitive leap in the space, and that's exactly what I think is going to be happening. Because clearly, if Valve can see it in that time frame and have an actual generational leap from what we're seeing right now on the Steam Deck, that could be a real pain in the ass for PlayStation, Nintendo, and even Xbox. With the article from Insider Gaming saying this, the latest claims about the Steam Deck 2 release window come from Kepler L2's recent post on NeoGAF. Oh, we're back with Kepler, and it's all coming together now, isn't it? When asked whether it would be 2029 before we see the next iteration, the insider responded stating that as far as he knows, Valve were targeting 2028. However, the whole RAM and NAND situation could delay it, as the entire gaming industry seems to be suffering from memory shortages, and the existing Steam Deck has been impacted by it too. However, the insider explained that there might be a silver lining if the Steam Deck 2 gets delayed further, as Valve's device is not built on a quote semi-custom SoC like the PlayStation 6 and Project Helix. It means that the manufacturers could upgrade it as time goes on, and it could end up with better specs if it is delayed. Valve had also stated earlier this year that it would be reassessing pricing for the Steam machine as global memory shortages continue into 2026. Now that is incredibly interesting to see what's happening with the specs of the Steam Deck 2. If that's actually correct and it's not a custom SoC, a delay could be advantageous for Valve to truly push the power of what they want to do with upgrades on that system directly. And then it could also help other people as well make their own Steam Decks or even their own Steam machines out of their own home, seeing as how they would use off-the-shelf parts for just basically making that entire product. It would truly be a direct competitor to what PlayStation is trying to do. To make matters even crazier, AMD would be the one making that entire piece of hardware, so it would have FSR 5. It would have all the stuff PSSR 3 has, all in one little box with the Valve logo right on top of it. Valve is doing a quadruple threat against everybody in the gaming industry, and it is incredibly terrifying for every other company, especially because Valve has been known to go ahead and put the customer and consumer first. They're going after the VR space with the Steam Frame, the actual couch living room area with the Steam Machine, PC gamers with their actual stuff on PC itself, then also handheld with the Steam Deck and even Steam Deck 2. This is an entire platform push that Valve is pushing towards, and it is exactly what everybody in fact fears. What ecosystem would you like to join in the first place? The one that gives zero refunds, doesn't provide any sort of value whatsoever, but tries to lock exclusivity behind an actual product? Or would you go after the one company that's been behind your back the entire time, giving you better prices, better deals, better customer service, and also helping Linux become a far better operating system? Seeing as how right now, over 5% of all users on Steam are moving towards Linux, and that is a huge win for Valve specifically, especially because Microsoft is trying to fix Windows 11 even right now. But the problem is it's not going to be easy. No, absolutely not. Pricing, the RAM crisis, the NAND issues, everything else across the board, it's all going to have to come in line to properly compete in this space. The good news, however, though, could be this. With Valve throwing their weight around and getting more into the actual hardware space and applying pressure onto the other companies, you could be seeing a more price competitive nature, even with things getting more expensive. And that could be good news for everybody. That means prices would potentially, hopefully, go down, not as much as we normally expect them to, but there'd be some form of competition, not only in that space, but across the board. And that would be exactly what everybody's looking for. It's no longer about the console war, folks. It's now the platform war. And companies are trying to find out different ways of keeping you in that ecosystem and that platform overall. And that's where the big win is going to be. But I'm incredibly interested to see what's going to be happening with the PS6 handheld, the PS6, and even with Nintendo and the Steam Deck as well. Hopefully the pricing is right, hopefully things come out correct, and the power matches what we're actually expecting. But who knows, the entire thing could fall apart and blow up in everybody else's face too, and then we could have another situation of a $1,000 system. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys got to say about this in the comment section down below. Would you pick up a PS6 handheld? Would you get a Switch 2? Or would you wait for the Steam Deck 2 in the meantime? I want to hear what you guys got to say. And speaking about what you got to say, here in fact is the comment of the day from yesterday's video. With Azriel Cypher saying this: "It's a good day if a big greedy corporation gets humbled." Azriel, I am right there with you. I really hope that Valve can squeeze in and start humbling, basically, some other corporations and realizing exactly that when you treat your customers right, they'll give you exactly what you want, the money that you've been craving. But as always, if you want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and even live streams, subscribe to the channel. If you want Discord access or emotes during those live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here as I wear a banana suit and get insulted with TTS. Trust me, it's a hell of a show for about 5 or 6 hours. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel. Oh, and if you're still here and want even more content, check out my second channel, Oh No It's Alex Gaming. We've got a new video coming out every single Monday moving forward, and hopefully I'll be live streaming there daily as well, playing video games and hanging out with you guys too. So subscribe. You'll definitely want to see that kind of content. We did a video about Resident Evil. Go check it out. But with all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!